You know, we all set goals. What keeps us from achieving these goals that we set? If you look around the world, I mean, millions of people are disengaged, depressed, not achieving our personal goals. By February, let's face it, the gym is empty. The gym is empty. What happens to all these New Year's resolutions? Well, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm the only teacher you've ever met who's collected feedback from tens of thousands of people who've been in my classes. And I ask them, did you do what I teach and did you get better? Now, years ago, my biggest client was a company called Johnson & Johnson, wonderful organization. I had the privilege of working with their top 2,000 leaders, all the way from Ralph Larson, who was the CEO at the time, down to number 2,000. And they all went to my course, and I gave them some stuff to do. Pick some simple area to improve, talk to people, follow up, measure, and get better. 98% of the leaders at Johnson & Johnson at the end of my program said, I'm going to do what Marshall just taught me. 98%. A year later, 70% had done something, and 30%, zero, not 1 minute. Now, I'm not ashamed of these numbers. I'm proud of these numbers. 70% of 2,000 people is 1,400 people getting evaluated by 10 coworkers each. 14,000 people have a little better life. I'm certainly not ashamed of that. I got to talk to people that did nothing, and I asked them a question. Why did you do nothing? Well, the answer had nothing to do with ethics, values, or integrity. They won an award that year, most ethical company in the world. They are good people. I'm sure you're a good person. Had nothing to do with intelligence. They're smart people. I'm sure you're a smart person. The reason people did nothing had to do with a dream. This is a dream I've had for years. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to predict many of you listening to me have had this dream. And many of you have had the same dream. And many of you have had the same dream on a recurring basis for years. Now you're probably thinking, wait a minute. This guy doesn't know my dreams. What's he talking about? Don't bet against me on the dream. What's the dream sound like? You know, I'm incredibly busy right now, given pressures of work and home and new technology that follows me everywhere, and emails and voicemails and global competition. I feel about as busy as I ever have. Sometimes I feel overcommitted. I don't tell others this, but every now and again, my life feels just a little bit out of control. But you know, I'm working on some very unique and special challenges right now, and I think the worst of this is going to be over in about 4 or 5 months. And after that, I'm going to take 2 or 3 weeks and get organized. And I'm going to spend some time with the family. And I'm going to begin my new Healthy Life program. And everything's going to be different. And it won't be crazy anymore. Have you ever had a dream that vaguely resembles that dream? How many years have you been having this dream? Well, when I work with people in large corporations, I'll call on somebody and say, let's say Joe over there. I say, Joe, do you have a boss? He goes, yeah, I have a boss. You have to make numbers. Yeah. And then I say, let's pretend that Joe overachieved on every number this quarter by 25%, 25% of all targets all year. Everybody stands up, applauds. I said, Joe, what are the odds the boss is going to come back next year and say, Joe, buddy, take a little break. You're working too hard. We're going to lower those goals. I don't think so. Then I look at Joe and say, Joe, repeat after me. My name is Joe, and it's always going to be crazy. Now, working with entrepreneurs, it's worse. I call on the entrepreneur and I say, let's imagine you overachieved on every one of your goals by 25%. You know, yay, everybody applauds. Then I look at the entrepreneur and say, what are the odds you're going to look at yourself next year and say, let's lower the goals? What's going to happen to next year's goals? The only difference between the corporate person and the entrepreneur is the corporate person, they say, my name is Joe. It's always going to be crazy. The entrepreneur says, my name is Joe, and I'm always going to be crazy. Well, the reality is it's always going to be crazy. We're always going to live under a lot of pressure that tomorrow doesn't show up. If you want to do something different, we really have to focus on what can I do today? What can I do today? And not wait for this dream of tomorrow that will probably never be there.